Hey, y'all, it's Lady C from Hidden Struggles. And today I want to talk about how we can get caught up with cheap psychology and buying power. And I'm going to use an interesting comparison to illustrate my point. Now, if you're from Detroit, Michigan, or somewhere in the area, you might remember this infamous Louis the Hatter radio ad.
Louis the Hatter is going out of business. Did you hear? Louis the Hatter is going out of business. Save 30%, 40%, even 50% off on all hats in the store. From stylish fedoras to classic bowlers, we have something for everyone. Don't miss this spectacular sale. Hurry in while supplies last. Louis the Hatter is going out of business.
I know y'all know that was a reenactment on that. That was not the original commercial. For decades, Louis the Hatter had these constant going out of business sales. But guess what? Louis was never really going out of business during those sales. It was a tactic, a psychological trick to create urgency and pressure people to come into the store to get these hats. And people thought they were getting a good deal. And I remember all about it because I used to get so tired of Louis the Hatter is going out of business, you know? And so today I was just kind of thinking about that. And I said, who else does the same thing? The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Because every time I turn around at meetings, conventions, assemblies, I remember the district overseer during the public discourse. And when he was giving the public discourse, he would sit there and he would talk about all of the bad things going on in the world. And I remember just sitting there, just taking it all in. And that was probably the best part about the assembly to me, because it was like all the bad things that were happening and how we were going to be rescued soon because the end of the world was coming very soon. Because when he was reading all the statistics and he was talking about all the crazy stuff that was going on in the world, it could never get any worse. And so you would leave the assembly thinking, oh, with all this good information that they've given us, it is such a wonderful thing. I can't believe that we're in this wonderful life-saving organization that's going to preserve our lives and all of that kind of stuff. And so from year in to year out, this is all they talk about. The end of the world is coming soon. It's around the corner. It's in the corner. It's at the corner. And even when the governing body, a couple years ago,
we're living in the final part of the last days, undoubtedly the final part of the final part of the last days.
So they're just like Louis the Hatter. Now, it's the funny thing about Louis the Hatter is at least he finally went out of business. Now, let me just say this. I didn't want to do this video and say that Louis the Hatter had gone out of business. So I decided to call this other hat store because I didn't know if this other hat store had changed their name to Henry the Hatter instead of Louis the Hatter. Okay, y'all, I'm calling Louis the Hatter because I want to find out if they're still in business.
Hello, Henry Hatter.
Is this Henry the Hatter?
Yes, it is.
Did you guys used to be called Louis the Hatter?
No, that was a totally different place.
Because remember when they were always going out of business?
Yeah, they went out of business. Yeah, in the early 90s.
So you see, Louis the Hatter really did go out of business. But the good thing about it is nobody had to plan their future around Louis the Hatter going out of business. The way the Watchtower has its members, oops, my bad, they're individuals making life decisions about their going out of business sale, okay? Because when you really think about it, that's all it is a gimmick. What does the Watchtower do? They try to find the worst things that's happening in the world, and then they start creating all of this rhetoric around all these bad things that's happening. They use a few Bible verses to show you why it's important that you follow them. And if you go to jw.org, you're always going to find one of the latest things happening in the world. Like recently, they had one about the political situation and how bad it is. And of course, what does the Bible have to say? That's all they ever do, is they find the worst thing happening in the world. They try to show you that mankind wants to fix it. But then their last statement is, what does the Bible have to say? At that point, they begin to preach to you about the scriptures, God's kingdom, and how it's going to eradicate all of these issues. And this is how they really keep a captive audience. When Louis the Hatter kept talking about they were going out of business, there were a group of people, I'm sure a whole lot of people, that realized after a while that, of course, Louis the Hatter was not going out of business. So like myself, they probably changed the radio station, because every time that commercial came on, I would just flip to another station because I was tired of hearing about this hat store going out of business. Okay? The other people would be like, maybe still trying to go down there to get the sale. Oh, let me go down there and see what they got on sale today, because maybe that's what they were into, getting a good sale. Even though they probably realized, hey, look, they're not really going out of business, but they might have some good sales today. And then you have that group of people that may be new to the area. They may not be listening to the radio as much as other people do. And this might be their first time hearing about this going out of business sale, right? Okay. Same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses have that captive audience of people that keep hearing the Watchtower saying, the world is going out of business. Why are you investing any more time and energy in this business, right? So at that point, you're the captive audience that keeps staying. You keep altering your life. You're not planning for your future. You're not saving for retirement. You're not trying to increase your education or even get a better place to stay. You're that person that's that captive audience that's just sitting there like that Louis the Hatter commercial, and you're constantly waiting for this end of the world. And like they were looking for an end of the business so they can get a good sale. They could capitalize on getting a good sale, right? Or you get the people that, like me, that turned away from the commercial because you were just tired of hearing it. So those are the people that you go to their door that don't open the door. And they're like, you know what? These Jehovah's Witnesses are back. I told you last week, I'm not interested. So they either ignore you, change the channel, don't open the door, try to go the other way when they see you coming, okay? And then you get those new people that never heard of Jehovah's Witnesses before. And they're the ones that they're perked up for a minute. They hear your message. They realize it's a scam, a sham, whatever it is. And they may either take the bait, be there for a few minutes, and they leave, or they don't take it at all. And so when you're thinking about being a consumer, what kind of consumer are you? Are you that consumer that is constantly allowing a merchant to continue to tell you how urgent their message is? Do you indulge to a degree where you're enjoying some of the benefits, but you don't let it over-consume you? Because there's a lot of people that say, I'll never leave this religion. But at the same time, there are a good number of people that belong to this religion that they're not considered good Jehovah's Witnesses because they like the people that they're hanging around and so forth and so on. Some of these people could be wealthy. I do know some wealthy brothers in the organization, not many, but I always found that the wealthy brothers were the ones that the Watchtower liked to use. They like to camp onto their resources, And so because they didn't treat them like a person that wasn't going out in service like they should, then they got the perks that other people didn't get. And that's where you see a lot of your celebrities, your people who have businesses. And the Watchtower, they like that, that person. They may not look at them and say, you're not spiritual because you're not going out in service enough, or you're not going to enough meetings. But these people, they kind of get the best of both worlds, So it just depends on, what your status is in the organization and what you're trying to attain in your life. What do you believe in? And so when we come out and do these videos, I know a lot of times people, they say, we've been getting, Jehovah's Witnesses that's leaving the organization. or they're in the process of leaving because they're indulging and they're watching our videos. And they'll come out and they'll say little nasty things, or they'll make little snide comments. Oh, why are you up here doing these videos? Well, we're here doing the video because we're helping people to make an educated decision about whether or not the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is really in their best interests. Okay? We're not trying to tell you to leave the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. We're just telling you to do your research because we can't make that decision for you. You have to examine the facts. You have to look and see whether or not this religion is good for you and whether or not this religion is just puffball, just giving you information, trying to get you to be part of their group so they can continue to grow and live in the life of luxury like they are now. Because when you're in leadership in this religion, your life is not the same as the rank and file because you have all of your bills, expenses, and everything is paid for you, providing you don't do something bad. Okay? Even when Anthony Morris was no longer a member of the governing body, they even bought him a house. So you can see how the people at the top are always going to do better than the rank and file. So anyway, just like Louis the Hatter was always going out of business and finally went out of business, I know a lot of people are looking for the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society to do the same. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, but you can make your decision whether or not you want to continue supporting this organization. This has been Lady C. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.